Hello everyone, and welcome to a game of World of Warships. Today's replay is from simenabs, and I'm terribly sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. But he's in the Montana 10 US battleship. He is on the map Northern Lights in a 3-point domination game. It's, well, obviously a tier 10 battle, but a lot of tier 8s around, so that's good. He's also in a division with a Gros Savoy and a Midway. Now there are 3 raider ships around on the enemy team and 1 destroyer per team, so it's not going to be fun for the destroyer. Now we can see the Gros Savoy here, I think he's reversing back into the cap, but look at that. There is the Baltimore, the Donskoy. Well, I mean the Cleveland is covering D right now, but there are 2 raiders covering the C cap. So the Gros Savoy won't have a lot of fun. Now meanwhile the Montana is having a lot of fun with citadels so far. Also here on the left side we can see the enemy carrier is striking the Alabama. Friendly carrier is there with some planes trying to intercept. The Alabama has okay anti-air, but well, I guess we will see how that turns out. And down goes the Alabama, so that's first blood for the enemy team. Not a good way to start. On the bright side, the enemy cruisers are in a position where they can't actually shoot the Gros Savoy. But then again, like this Yamato and Bismarck and so on, they probably can. So the Gros Savoy here is playing it careful, but he'll try again, I suppose. Now with a Donskoy reversing, I'm not sure why. He is fully broadside. Now simenabs is expecting the Donskoy to go forward again, and that seems like a pretty good prediction. Now shells are looking good. Can he get lucky? Nope, not this time. I mean, he got quite a few citadels earlier, but it would have been nice if that Donskoy would have been dealt with right here, but well, sometimes you get lucky and sometimes you don't. Now here on the left side we still have an Amaki going very aggressive here, and considering that we saw what happened to the other battleship there, it's probably a bad idea. Friendly team also lost a destroyer here at the D cap, which is rather bad. The friendly team also has a Kurfürst here on the 10 line. Also not a very good choice for positioning. Like the 9-10 line are pretty useless in general, and if there is a carrier, being alone there is also not a very good tactic. Now simenabs is staying in the middle. He is here in a position where he is still trying to support C, and if he can get far enough in this direction, he might even get shots at those cruisers. What he can do is he can prevent those cruisers from being in a position where they can actually shoot the Gros Savoy. Now those ships can raid at the Gros Savoy, but they can't shoot it, so at least there is that. Now the friendlies have lost the Des Moines. The Des Moines, I'm not exactly sure what happened to her. I mean, it was maybe a little bit of too aggressive positioning there. And so the Des Moines that got sunk over here somewhere is now blaming the Montana for not sinking the enemy Baltimore. Now simenabs, he tried shooting that Baltimore earlier, but he just didn't have shots at it, right? He was behind an island, and you can't shoot through an island. Thing is, there's Des Moines that lost the gunfight with a Baltimore, and let's face it, the Des Moines could have gone into cover. He could have dropped into concealment. The Des Moines could have done lots of stuff, but instead he is now blaming the Montana because he lost a gunfight with Baltimore. So far, there isn't that much remaining of the friendly team. They all just kinda got sunk. Now here we can see an airstrike, probably going for the Kurfürst that's all alone. The friendly carrier is desperately trying to defend, but there is only so much you can do, I suppose. Now meanwhile, I mean, simenabs, he has done quite a bit of damage. He has been in a decent position here, trying to just punish enemy ships and support the efforts at the C cap. Also, by the way, shout out to the Gros Savoy who managed to get the C cap despite all this raider. But you know, the friendly team is just crumbling everywhere, and this is looking pretty bad. On the bright side, they can probably sink this Cleveland here. I guess that's something. So he considered taking shots at the Cleveland, decided not to, most likely because the Cleveland is so low on health and there were other shells coming this way. So he expects someone else to sink the Cleveland. Instead, this Baltimore has finally ventured too far. He used to be like in a position here where he couldn't be shot at. But the Baltimore got a little bit overconfident, I suppose, and now he got punished. Meanwhile, oh, now the Cleveland's dead, so maybe he should have taken out the Cleveland earlier, who knows. Now that Des Moines is too late, well, you know, he just didn't have shots at this Baltimore earlier. But I don't know, maybe in the world the Des Moines living islands don't exist. Might explain why he got sunk. Maybe he doesn't believe in islands. So anyway, is this the start of a comeback? I guess we will find out. There are quite a few battleships here on the right side. And there's a Grossevoy. If the Grossevoy gets lucky with a lot of torpedoes, who knows? Also, this Kurfürst is still around and he is coming back here. There is a plane here because he's probably expecting the next airstrike to go for the Kurfürst. Would make sense. The Kurfürst is... well, he doesn't have the best anti-air and he is kinda isolated. Then again, I mean, at this point, there are not many friendly ships left, so I guess they're all isolated. Now the Grossevoy is trying to probably take the decap, at least slow down those battleships. Torpedoes. And simenabs, he is just holding his position here. He is expecting those cruisers to try for C. And that's probably a reasonable assumption. I mean, there is no reason why these cruisers would just sit there. They'll either push B or C. Now he could turn around and go towards D, but I guess dealing with those cruisers might be better. For now we have an airstrike incoming. Now the Montana has good anti-air, but I'm not sure how much he's invested with captain skills and modules into his anti-air. So he got a few planes. The friendly carrier, I think he was here with fighters, but so is the enemy. Now we can see this out going for B. Shells are in the air, maybe he can at least get an interrupt off. Sao is slowing down quite a bit though. Now if you're a battleship and you're engaging a cruiser on like 15 plus kilometers, the battle's not in your favor unless the enemy is showing a lot of broadside. If you have a cruiser kiting away from you, a high tier cruiser, you're pretty screwed because at long ranges they can dodge your most of your shells, and if they are angled you rarely get big hits while they can just slowly burn you down. So if you are alone in a battleship, you usually want to avoid picking a fight with a kiting cruiser at plus kilometers in higher tiers. I mean, not that this cruiser is currently kiting, but that's also something that happened to like the Amagi here on the left side earlier. Not only was he alone and exposed against the carrier, but I think he was trying to chase down a Sao. And if you are chasing a Sao in an Amagi, you're just doomed, unless you get really lucky. Now, this is what happens if the Sao is not kiting away, but showing way too much broadside because he was trying to cap. And this also means that simenabs now has achieved Confederate and he's running Halsey, so that's good news, I guess. The bad news is they have lost the cap here and the enemy is pushing through the decap. The Grossevoy might be able to slow down some of those battleships with his torpedoes, but we will see. The Kurfürst, how healthy is the friendly Kurfürst? Well, almost down, so that's also pretty bad. Now, what the friendly team needs is, well, torpedo hits from the Grossevoy, I suppose, and maybe a few nice airstrikes. Now here's simenabs, he has to decide. He can either wait here and try to ambush the Yamato coming through here with his shells, or he can aggressively push into the sea cap. Now if he can get in here and sink the cruiser, and afterwards maybe sink the Des Moines, grab C. I mean, it's pretty desperate no matter what he does. So this Edinburgh will soon launch torpedoes through this gap, shells are in the air. Edinburgh was full broadside, so that's one less Edinburgh.
Torpedoes to starboard.
And looks like he's able to dodge those torpedoes with. Now, next problem coming up. 2 Yamatos, one behind him and one towards his right. He could try to slow down enough so that he's safe from this Yamato, but I don't think his ship can slow down in time. So the next option would be to just push in here and get away from the Yamato behind him. Now I'm not sure where this Yamato is aiming, but considering his gun elevation, probably... Wait. And that opens up, well, that means simenabs has a nice opportunity to just farm this Yamato. If this Yamato would return fire, it could have gone bad, but, you know, Yamato is almost down. Planes are incoming to finish off that dangerous opponent. But we have enemy fighters there, and no, I think the enemy strike craft is just returning. So, looks like the Yamato isn't the only problem. There is a Bismarck here as well. The Donskoy is not coming around this corner. He knows that there are guns looking his way. He's just waiting. Unfortunately, simenabs is rather broadside to that Bismarck, and there isn't anything he can do about it. Well, maybe he can just sink the Bismarck. That will solve this problem. There you go. Now we have the strike craft incoming. There is one enemy fighter squadron around, but so is an enemy fighter squadron, so I'm not sure how this will go. And I have a feeling that simenabs might not have invested that much into his anti-air, or maybe his anti-air guns are already destroyed at this point. That's also a possibility. But enemy is coming from multiple directions with his torpedo bombers. And there isn't much he can do about it. Now the Donskoy is choosing this moment to go in. Probably a good choice, because the guns aren't pointing in the Donskoy's way. And oh, this is a lot of damage. And I guess the turret position here was sort of buggy. But, you know, he got the enemy cruiser. Keep in mind that in replays sometimes the turrets are not shown in the right direction. They point in. But, well, I mean, he got the cruiser. Unfortunately, it's looking disastrous points-wise. The Grossevoy is down as well. So it's one carrier against 2 battleships and a carrier with a massive fleet for the enemy team. And it comes to no surprise to anyone that this is a defeat. Now here we are with the results. simenabs managed to get 2,539 base experience in a defeat. That's a lot of experience for losing a battle. Only one enemy ship managed to get more. But you know, you can't carry them all. His division seemed to do well too. But it's just like the friendly team. They kinda all exploded. And that's that. So, simenabs achieved a Confederate, a devastating strike, a Kraken, and a high caliber, scoring 288,000 points of damage, and it just wasn't enough to win this battle. Oh well. I hope you at least enjoyed watching it. I think it was a great battle, and I'll see you guys next time.